I was getting such high dexterity while using the Doombringer and the Shira's dagger. What I did was I got greater affix dexterity on everything. And then I tried to get a crit on the dexterity as much as possible, unless it had lucky hit chance. Then I prioritized lucky hit chance. The only one that I would say I didn't do that was here, and also my amulet where I did the percentage to dex. That percentage to dex multiplies all of my dexterity, and dexterity is a damage multiplier. So for every 10 dexterity you have, you go up by 1%. So you keep doing this. You add 300, it's 30%. You add 1,000, it's 100% damage multiplier. So I was basically just stacking dex. Um, I'm using. You can see all the aspects I'm using right here for my chest, for my gauntlets, pants, for my boots. I put chilled enemies. Poison with poison imbue will further chill them for 20%. You deal 30% additional. I know a lot of people have put in this on their amulet, but I'll show you what I have on my amulet. Obviously, I'm using distant enemies have a 10% chance to be stunned for 2 seconds. You deal 60%. This is basically double dipping, so it's good on the two-handed weapon. Shira's, I got it with a greater affix, and then I double critted it for 20%, 27% crit chance. Doombringer, I hit max life and double damage. I wish it was more in max life. I could probably, this is going to be the next project. You can see I have the poison imbue. Has a chance to create a toxic pool. The reason why I'm using this is that pool actually can proc Andariel's Visage. Every third cast of puncture, poison imbues. This goes nicely with chilled enemies and poison imbue. That's how you proc it, from what I understand. And this is where my build kind of differs from everyone else's, is that I use after casting 5 basic skills, your active skill cooldowns are reduced by 3 seconds. And so, yeah, I'm basically just flying around. I'll show you in 1 second when I get into a pit. So when you look here, I showed you earlier, my damage increase is at 326%. Go down to my dodge, and you'll see that my dodge is at 58%. I only have dodge on my boots at 8.7, and on my amulet at 9.4. Most of my dodge is coming from the flat amount I get from dexterity. There is no diminishing returns for dodge with dexterity. So the more dexterity you have, it's a direct dodge chance. So I'm getting 32.6% just from dexterity alone, from what I understand. If you go down to my lucky hit chance, my lucky hit chance right now is at 87%. This brings my puncture to 65%. What I think people need to understand about lucky hit chance and adding multiplicative damage to their build is that lucky hit chance acts like your crit chance as with like crit damage. So it's a direct your damage multiplier. Let's say crit damage was a direct multiplier. completely, not just that 50%. Um, and say you were stacking a lot of crit damage, but not a lot of crit chance. Let's give an example. Let's say you had 1,000 crit damage, but only 10% crit chance. Your effective damage increase is only 100% multiplier from that 1,000 because you're only getting effectively 10% of the time you're getting that 1,000. So you can basically multiply the crit damage to the crit chance. Um, Same thing can be said about similar damage where if you had only 100% crit damage and 100% crit chance, it's a directly correlated to your crit chance. So if you have 100% crit chance, you multiplied your damage by 100%. Let's say you had 200% crit damage and only 50% crit chance. It's all the same. It's all the same damage. You have a 50% chance of hitting that 200, so half of 200 is 100%. Same thing works with lucky hit chance. So in this scenario, your lucky hit chance is directly correlated to whatever you're trying to proc. Right now, what I'm trying to proc is a 20% chance to trigger my Poison Nova and a 25% chance to proc my Shadow Explosion. These damage types um, are directly related to your coefficient of lucky hit chance. So the higher your lucky hit chance, the more effective that damage is. I may not have that high of multipliers as other people, but because my effective lucky hit chance is higher, I'm able to get more out of the damage because it's proccing more often. And I think that's what people want to do is proc more often. So you could essentially have double my damage, let's say with poison, but because I'm effectively hitting 50% more procs, it averages out to the same amount of damage. And even though I don't have the chill up here, I'll kind of show you my damage in a rift. Also, because I have such high lucky hit chance, I'm able to take advantage of my chance to sun, um, my chance to freeze, my chance to daze, because they become more effective because my lucky hit chance is higher. So everything kind of synergizes with one another. And I'll kind of jump in here and do a pit real quick. So the reason why I put the cooldowns from basic skills is because I'm just going to basically run around the map looking for groups of elites, and I'll hit other things. But I'm able to get out before the explosions happen most of the time. I know that other rogues are able to permafreeze a lot of the enemies at 100, so it's not that big of a deal. And I know the poison damage can stack really quickly with the other builds, but the explosions from Doombringer, yeah, excuse me, it's pretty nice. I like it a lot. I've done both styles of play, and I enjoy this one the most. I die less, and spending less gold on dying feels good. I'm just going to leave that there. It isn't the fastest timing, and I could possibly kill enemies a little quicker if I had the chilled enemies do get poison damage if it was on my amulet, but at the same time I'm just kind of flying around. And at 100, pit 100, 101, things are dying fast enough. Okie doke. I relatively get to the boss around the same time. I'm going to do damage without doing my Cold Chop. And you can see how quickly I get him stunned. And from that, you know, I was doing 120,000 ticks. It's not that high. I can get without Cold Chops maybe like 400 million ticks. But I'm really just kind of focusing on doing 101s as fast as possible, as easy as possible, and this seems to be the most consistent. I'll kind of go over my skills. One into puncture, one into enhanced, and obviously fundamental puncture. Um, having 3 punctures multiplies your 65% chance by 3, and also having 100% chance to puncture on my two-hander gives me 6 punctures. Those 6 punctures all have a 65% lucky hit chance. So that's that. My build. 1 point into flurry, 1 into enhanced flurry for extra healing. I really don't even need the healing. 1 point into improved flurry, making enemies vulnerable. The enemies die so fast. I barely ever apply vulnerable. So that's something to think about in 100s. You don't technically need it, but you also don't need the flurry doing more damage to stun enemies. You sturdy, obviously with 3. I have 1 point into shadow step, enhanced shadow step, and shadow step cooldown is reduced to 3 by 3 seconds when it hits a enemy that has not been hit by shadow step. So basically, I use this to kind of jump around, and because my cooldowns are so fast, I'm just jumping around the whole pit. 3 into rugged. Weapon mastery 3, cold trap 1. I know people are stacking cold trap damage because, you know, a higher multiplier. And as you saw, I killed the boss so quickly that it really doesn't even matter. The setup for the cold trap in 101s doesn't do anything. I still have it just in case, but 101s are just so fast. You just want to move as quickly as possible. And I do the 101s in about 2.5, 3 minutes every time. 1 into concussive. This is important to knock down enemies, and the 1 point into trick attack to daze. I have 5 points into dash so that I can dash more often. Obviously, Dark Shroud. Everyone knows Dark Shroud. Yep. Kind of just gonna go over these things real quick. Exploit. Malice for the extra damage to vulnerable. 1 point into poison imbuement. Enhanced imbuement increases the duration, and critical strikes deal 75% increased poison damage. It really doesn't do anything. It does minimal damage. I could put these points somewhere else. Poison deals 15% less damage. Enemies. You deal increased poison damage. I know Deadly Venom isn't the best, but it's the most consistent damage because I'm always poisoning. Attack speed. I could increase my attack speed with alchemical advantage. 1 point in innovation. For the energy, I don't really even need this. I really just go for the non-physical damage. Has a higher lucky hit chance. And then I'm stacking close quarters combat. It's only at 86 multiplier, but you have to understand other people may have, let's say, 100, 110. You're looking at an extra 15% multiplicative damage. But then again, I also have a higher multiplicative damage increase from dexterity, so it kind of all evens out. The cool thing about the damage from dexterity is that it applies to all damage types. That includes Doombringer. If you notice, if I have any damage, it's generic damage. I know that it's double dipping right now. I may switch over to damage over time, but for now it's fine. To get the higher breakpoint, I have one piece with attack speed. Between the two, attack speed from Andariel's and the attack speed from the ring, I think I'm hitting like 3 times a second, something like that, with combo points with flurry, because flurry gives you that 45%. I I haven't looked at all the breakpoints, and if someone in the comments wants to tell me about the breakpoints, I am using, one dagger and one sword, and I have roughly, let's see, 34.5% attack speed bonus. So if anybody wants to help me with how to get to the next breakpoint, how much attack speed I would need, that'd be cool. Other than that, if you have any questions about the build, just ask in the comments, and I should be able to answer your questions, have a longer dialogue about the build itself. So yeah, talk to you soon.